Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today with lesson number 3 in our incredible new tutorial series where you are going to learn artificial intelligence on the Jetson Nano. What I'm going to need you to do today is pour yourself a nice big mug of iced coffee. That would be strong black coffee poured over ice cubes. Please don't use sugar. No sugar is needed. Delicious just the way it is. I'm also going to need you to get out your Jetson Nano gear. What? You don't have your gear yet? Look down in the description and I have links to the hardware that I will be using in this series of lessons. Hey, want to take a second and give a shout out to my Patreon supporters. Want to thank you because you guys are allowing me to continue to get better studio equipment to improve the quality of these lessons. I hope you guys are enjoying the much improved audio from this nice microphone made possible by my Patreon supporters. My biggest issue right now in the production quality is the fact that these overhead shots that I am doing, I'm using a webcam, and the webcam has pretty good quality, but the problem is as I start working live, the webcam loses focus and it just really throws these things off. So next on the list, I would like to get a better camera system. But enough of this nonsense and advertising and trying to get you to sign up for my Patreon. Let's get right into the lesson. So we are going to switch over to our view of the Jetson Nano desktop. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be learning a little bit more advanced Linux commands. If you remember in last week's lesson, we learned how to kind of work our way around the terminal. We were sort of learning how to navigate the file structures, the directory structures from the command line, and we learned how to move files, copy files, remove files, make directories, and so forth. So sort of how to manipulate files, move things around, and find our way around the system from the command line. And today what we're going to do is we're going to learn some more Linux, and this will be kind of the last Linux. This will get you comfortable enough that you can make it pretty far, and also get you comfortable enough that if you get stuck somewhere you can just sort of look it up and know enough to find solutions on your own when you have questions. So let's see what we are going to do today. We are going to first of all learn how to send data from one part of Linux to a text file. So what do I mean by that? I didn't describe that very well. Well, what's one thing that we learned last week? We learned that if we want to see what files are in our present directory, we can just type ls. If I type ls, I get this list of folders and files that are in the existing directory. Well, that's good, but what if I wanted to preserve a record of those? Well, I could say ls, and then I could send that with the greater than sign. I could send that to a file. What file will I send that to? Well, let's just call it mydirectory.txt. Okay, now let's look at that. Boom, nothing happened, but let's do an ls now, and look at that. Now I have a new file. What is that file? mydirectory.txt. Let's take a look at that. How do we take a look at it? Do you remember the command from last week? Cat mydirectory.txt, and you can see that what is in that text file is the output from the ls command. And so the commands that you can give in Linux, you can send that to the terminal, or using the greater than sign, you can send it to a file. And that is actually very useful because, you know, there's a lot of different things, and sometimes you want to keep a record of them. Okay, let's see. Let's just play around a little bit of new stuff, a little bit of old stuff. And so how do we make a directory? Remember last week, how do we make a directory? I'm going to make directory, mkdir, and how would I do it all the way from the home, all the way from the root? Well, root is that, and then we have home, and then we have pjm, which was my username, and then we have that would be kind of take us down to where we presently are, and then I'm going to call it scratch. Okay, now let's look ls, and you can see now I have a folder called Scratch. Let's go through that again. Remember, we could go change directory / takes us to root. If we look ls, there is a folder called home, or a directory called home. I could go change directory home, and then we see that ls, we can see that there is a folder called pjm. That's me, that's my username. You would use your username, change directory pjm, and then ls, and there I have Scratch. Okay, so we're going to work a little bit in Scratch, but so you get used to this navigation system in Linux, I'm going to stay in my directory, the PJM directory, and I'm going to be working down in that Scratch directory. So let's look, what is another, let's remove that my directory that we just did. So I'm going to do an rm my rm my directory dot, I am really messing up here. rm my directory.txt. Now I'm going to do an ls. Okay, so you can see now that that file that we just created is gone now. And you can also see that we have that Scratch folder. So I'm going to stay in my home directories, which is /home/pjm, and I'm going to be working down in that Scratch file. So let's see. Where is another, let's do a change directory desktop, okay, an ls, and there is some stuff in there, so that's a good one that we can do. Let's do cd ... and now we do ls, and we're now back in the home directory. Okay, so let's do a ls. What do I want to ls? I want to ls the desktop, so I'll say desktop folder. Okay, and then I want to take that and I want to put it into Scratch. So I'm putting the path /my directory.txt. Okay, so now let's look ls, there's Scratch. Now let's do ls Scratch. So I'm going to list the files that are in Scratch, and look at that, boom, my directory. Now let's cat that, cat Scratch, which is the path, and then /my directory.txt. Okay, and there it is. That is the contents of the desktop folder, and it was sent, rather than to the terminal, it was sent to the file. Man, I cannot move that like that, can I? Let's see. I kind of like this view. But I see that that is getting out, not in a good spot. I'm sorry. Give me just a second, and I will indeed get this fixed. Brings no joy to me that Ubuntu now is doing this auto size thing that just about drove me crazy on Windows. Okay, so what do we see? We see that we can send the output of a Linux command to a file. All right, so let's see, where are we? pwd, that'll show me my path. I'm in my home directory, and then you can see that I've got that desktop stuff in the my directory text file. So let's go back, and this time let's say ls, and I'm going to ls this directory, and then I'm going to send that to Scratch /my directory.txt. Okay, now I'm going to cat Scratch /my directory.txt. Okay, what did it do? When I issue the command again, the new send it to the file overwrites the old file. So I can have this directory or I can have the other directory. What if I wanted to have both? What if I wanted to, instead of overwriting the file, I wanted to append? Well, let's remember where we are. And if you guys see I'm making these old commands pop up, that is just the up arrow. The up arrow on your keyboard will take you to your previous commands. That's a little pro tip there. Okay, so we're going to look at that, and you can see that I have a file that has a list of the things that are in my home directory. Okay, well now I want to add to that the things that are in the desktop directory. So what I am going to say is ls, and then I'm going to ls the desktop folder. I'm going to ls the desktop folder, and I'm going to send it to the Scratch folder, and specifically to the my directory.txt. Now, if we did this, what would happen? It would overwrite. So this is the little thing you're going to learn, that if you go greater, greater, if you put two of them, it should append. It should append instead of overwriting. So let's look. Now let's do a cat of Scratch, and then let's go my, I hit up, let's say ls desktop Scratch my directory.txt. Okay. I did not mean to do that. I meant to cat. Okay, I just ran the command again. So now I'm going to do cat, and I am going to do Scratch, and then my directory.txt. And since I ran it twice, the desktop should probably be listed there twice. Okay, I do believe it is. Okay, so we have the nv underscore dev zone. You can see that it's on there twice. You see I'm appending instead of overriding. If I do it with one greater than, it will override it. So let's check that out. Okay, and then do the cat again, and you can see that it overwrote the old file. Okay, so do you see the power of using this greater than? Instead of just ending up with the output on the screen, you can end up with the output on a in a file, and that is actually very, very useful. Okay, let's go back and let's append those other things. And so we would need to do an ls ls present directory into Scratch my directory, and I will do a greater than, so it will append it. Greater, greater, like that. Okay, greater, greater. Now if I do a cat Scratch and then a slash my directory.txt, look at that. I have appended the home directory, my home/pjm directory, to my home-pjm-desktop directory. So you see I can append or I can overwrite. So I have a nice little text file here with a nice little list of words. Kind of easy to generate it that way. Okay, so let's look at this. What I think though that I need some more files. So I am going to change directory into Scratch. Okay, and now I'm going to create some files because I need some more files to work with. So what would be some files I could create? How about months.txt? And what I need to do is nano months.txt. Remember, Nano is our text editor, and so I'm going to put some months in here. My months are going to be let's see, my months are going to be December, and then January, and then it will be November, and then it will be February, and then it will be October, and then it will be March, and then it will be September, and then it will be April. And you guys really do this, okay? It will be April, and then it will be August, and then it will be May. And then, do you realize how hard it is to do this kind of interwoven forward and backward list of months? This is not easy, but there is actually a reason for it. So this would be July, and then I think June. And so let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I have all the months. Now, how do we get out? Control O, enter, Control X. So now if I just do a cat months.txt, look at that. I've got my file with the months in it. All right, we learned how to use Nano last week, so you should have already installed Nano. Nano is a text editor. You should know how to do that. Okay, let's come up with another file, Nano and I'm going to call it my cars. Okay, our months should be the same, but our cars can be different. .txt. Okay, so my first car was a Honda Civic. I had it in high school. Then when I finished college, I got a Nissan pickup, and then we got married, so my wife and I got an Audi 5000S, and then I started doing well at work, so I got a Mercedes 450 SL convertible, and I like that convertible so much I got the Mercedes 500 SL convertible. That was not good. Convertible, and there actually is a reason. Convertible. There's a reason I'm making all these files. Then I got my wife a Jaguar, and then we had a Humvee, and then we decided all these fancy cars were just too much headache, so we got a Toyota Tacoma, and we liked it so much we got another Toyota Tacoma, and then right now I have a Toyota Camry. Okay, we just need different files with different words in it, and I need to put things that we can kind of remember what we did. How do we get out? Control O, enter, and then Control X. Okay, now we need a file with some numbers in it, and so let's just do nano fever.txt. And so let's say that I am taking an animal's temperature, and the temperature is 97, and then the temperature is 98, and then the temperature is 99, and then the temperature is 100, and then the temperature goes to 96, and then 101, and then the temperature goes to 95, and then the temperature goes to 105. Okay, and so how do I save it? Control O, enter, Control X. All right, so let's do a cat. Let's do a cat and just look at one of these, like my cars.txt. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Now, one of the things that you can see there is, if you look at this my cars, it's kind of in random order. Okay, it was in kind of like chronological order of which cars I bought first to which cars I bought last. But what if I really wanted it in alphabetical order? Well, what I could do is I could sort, and I could sort, let me go up one. Okay, change directory ... Okay, so ls, now I'm back in, so now I'll have to path down into that folder, because I just want you guys to see you don't have to work in the folder that your file is in. You can put the Linux path over to it. So we are here, and so let's see. If I want to, what I want to do is I want to sort that file. So I'm going to say sort, and then what do I need to go? I need to go to scratch the folder, and then slash, and then I believe we called this my, I hate that. What happens is this doofus little keyboard that I have has got the up key where I expect the shift key to be, so I'm trying to hit shift and I hit up and then I lose my command. So what we were going to do is we were going to sort, use the sort command, and then down to scratch folder, and then my cars.txt. Look at that. Boom. Alphabetical. Okay, so instead of just having a cat, which would show me what was in there, what I did here was I did a sort, and it feeds them to me from that file in alphabetical order. But now if I look at the file itself, it hasn't changed. So I can go cat, and then I can go scratch, and then I can go my cars.txt, and you see it's still in the old order, but if I sort it, it shows it to me in the right order. Well, hey, what if I wanted reverse? What if I wanted reverse alphabetical order? I could do sort, scratch, and what I could do here is I could put -R, and that will give me, boom, reverse alphabetical order. And so a lot of times in Linux and the programming that we're going to be doing, we need to manipulate files quickly. So this is a quick way to sort a list and end up with it in the order that you want it to. You want it to be in. Hey, how about this? Think about what we learned a little bit earlier on. So I'm going to do sort in alphabetical order, scratch, mycars.txt. What could you do with this? Send it to another file. How about that? We're going to send it to scratch/mycars alphabetical order.txt. Let's try that. Boom. Now let's do cat scratch /mycars dot, not dot, alphabetical order.txt, and boom, this file has the cars in alphabetical order. See, you can sort it and look at it, or you can sort it and send it to a file. All right, this is pretty cool stuff. This is pretty cool stuff. Okay, so let's remember that other thing that we had of months. Remember cat, and then scratch, and then cat. Oh, I hit that blasted key again. So we have cat, scratch, and then we have, what did I call that? Let's look, ls, scratch. Okay, it was months. Yeah, I thought it was months, but I thought I didn't name it my months, did I? No, I did not. So what we are going to do is cat and scratch, and then months.txt. Okay, so there are my months. Now, what if I did a sort of scratch/months.txt? Boom. It did not, I misspelled scratch. S-C-R-A-T-C-H. Okay, boom. I've got the months in alphabetical order. Okay, what is the problem with that? Usually you don't want months in alphabetical order, you want them in calendar order. So how can I handle that? I can say sort -M, and that uppercase M will put things in date order. So let's look at that. Boom, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So we got them sorted in month order. So we can sort things alphabetically, or we can sort them, based on the calendar with the -M. What else could we do? Well, we could combine those two, sort in the reverse order for months. And there we have December, January, counting backwards. You see, these little parameters allow us to do a lot. Okay, so now let's look at cat, and then we want a cat, scratch, and then what was the other one? Fever. Okay, so we're going to cat, scratch, fever, and we can see those fevers of our animal in that order that we put them in. So what could we do? We could sort, and we could scratch, and then fever.txt. And that sort of is kind of like trying to arrange them, but there's no particular order. Why? Because they are numbers. They are not names, and they are not months. So what we need to do is we need to sort and tell them -N that they're numerical, that I want numerical order. And look at that. From least to greatest, 95, 96, 97, 98. Boom. Okay, I've got that. Well, what else could I do? I could sort numerically. And again, to get these commands to pop up, I'm just using the up arrow. Sort -n -r, and it should be in descending order now. Okay, what could we do? We could put that in a file. So I could say sort, and then I could say, let's do it this way. I could say cat, and then I could say scratch, and then cat scratch fever.txt, and then I could send that. I could send that to scratch.fever, and then I could call it like, or scratch/fever, and then I could call it ordered.txt. Okay, and now I can do a cat, and I can look at 1 minute. You know what? I don't think I sent the cat. I sent the cat to fever ordered, but I never ordered it. So how would we do this? We would say cat. I think what we need to do is we need to sort scratch/fever.txt, and we need to send that to scratch/fever.ord.txt. I think that will work. And now we can cat scratch fever.ord.txt, and there, boom. No, that did not work. Oh, I know what I did. We didn't sort it in the right. We forgot the -n. So I want to sort. Did you guys catch that? -n. Okay, and then it'll send it to the file. It'll send it to the file fever ord. Okay, so let's do that. And now let's do a cat, and then scratch fever ord.txt, and these should be in order, I think. Okay, yeah, that's in order, right? What could I do? I could do the sort -n, and this time I could say -r, okay, for reverse order, and then send it to fever ord reverse. Okay, and now I can do cat scratch fever fever ord reverse.txt. Boom, reverse order. How do you like that? Okay, so guys, these are just little techniques that we can use from the command line to deal with text files. We can take it from one command, we can send to another command, we can sort them, we can order them, we can, send to a text file. These are really, really pretty powerful things that we're doing here. Let's see if there's anything else here. Sort is good. Send to a file is good. These are all good things. Okay, another thing that we can do. What if we want to find a file? So let's look. We have ls. Let's go cd scratch. Okay, ls. All right, we've got cat scratch fever. We've got my cars. We've got directory, my cars. Okay, we've got several files here. Okay, what if I want to say I'm going to change directory, and I am going to go up one. Okay. Now I'm back in my home directory. What if I want to find something? Okay, I could say find, and then I have to tell it where to start looking. Well, I want to start looking in my home directory. That's the directory where I am now. I want to start there. And then what do I want to look for? I want to look for the file fever. Okay, F-E-V-E-R, like that. All right, let's see if it'll find it. Whoa, that was odd. Find in home. Okay, forgot something very important. Find in my home directory, okay, I forgot the parameter minus name, and then I want to find the name fever, like that. How about that? Okay, did not find it, all right? Let's say fever.t.txt. Okay, boom, you see it found it, and it's telling me that that file that I was looking for is in the Scratch folder. Okay, fever is in the Scratch folder. So what I could see is that it wants to find an exact match. So what you could do though is you could use the wildcard. So what I could do is say find fever.star anything like that, and you see it finds it again. What I could also do is I could find any text file like this, star.text. So the wildcard.txt should find from my home directory, which is /home/pjm. In that directory, in all the subdirectories, it should find everything that is a txt file. So if I do that, look at that. I've got fever, I've got months, my cars, fever order reverse, fever order, my directory, and then also there is this other folder in there. It found some stuff that wasn't things that we put in there. So that is actually pretty useful. But in fact, I might want to keep that. And so what I could do is I could take that and I could send it to, in my present directory, my I hit that blasted thing again. My text files.txt, and now I do an ls. There's my text files.txt. I could cat my text files.txt, and there's a list of my text files. Okay, so you see how these things can play together, your cat, your ls, your send to a file. Okay, these are pretty useful things. Now that greater than sign will send something to a file, but sometimes you don't want to just send it to a file, you want to send it to another function, and the way you do that is you pipe it. Okay, so I could send my ls to a file, or I could send my cat to a file, but what if I wanted to send, or I could send my sort to a file, but what if I want to send my ls to a sort? Okay, that greater than won't do that. I need a pipe. Okay, so let's see how that would work. So let's see where we are right now. We are ls, we are, that was not good. And that was sure not good. I just killed my, right mouse click, open terminal will give us another terminal. Okay, so I'm back in my home directory. Let's do ls. Okay, that's what's in my home directory, and let's say I wanted to reverse sort that. Well, what I could do is I could say ls it, okay, and then pipe it. Pipe it is that vertical bar. For me, it is that little symbol. Let me see if I can show you. For me, on my keyboard, it is right here above the enter key, and it is the shift slash. All right, it is the shift slash. Okay, so ls, I'm going to pipe it though to sort, and then on the sort, I want to go in reverse order. Okay, and that, I'm sorry, I've got several things here I am trying to accomplish. Okay, let's see. Sort minus reverse order, and let's see what happens. Okay, now what it did was it took the output from ls, it piped it to sort, and it put it in reverse order. Well, let's do ls sort minus r, but I also want it to go to, let's say, sorted directory.txt. So after I sort it, I can send it to a file with a little luck. So cat sorted directory.txt. Boom, reverse order. Okay, so you have The greater than, where you can send it to a file, or you have it a pipe where you can send the output from one command, will serve as the input to another command. Okay, what you can also do is you can put a T in there. And what the T will do, the T will split it and send it to two different places. So let's try this. We're going to say ls, and we are going to do a T. So we're going to pipe it to a T, pipe it to a, oh my goodness, this keyboard's battery I think is going down. So let's see if we can get this keyboard working. Okay, so we are going to take the ls, we are going to pipe it to a T, and then we are going to sort it. Okay, we're going to sort it into sorted directory. Okay, and then we are also going to sort it. Now let's just do that. Okay, let's do that. So we are going to T it to sort to sorted directory. All right, and let's see. That should have also, let me see. Okay, guys, I'm not sure. I thought when I put that T in there, that it would show it to me, and it would put it in that file. So let's try sort one.txt. So I'm going to ls, but I'm going to go to a pipe, and from the pipe I'm going to T, and then I am going to sort. Let me just try that like that. Okay, so what happens there is it shows it to me, and then desktop documents. Okay, so I am not getting this T to work right. I am not exactly sure what is happening on the T. Let me try one more time. You know, this could have changed a little bit since I had been using it. So let me just try cat, and then scratch, and then my directory.txt. Okay. Should not have the leading. That took me back to root. All right. So there I have the catalog that I created earlier of different files that I have. Okay. So now I'm going to say, I'm going to catalog that, but then I am going to pipe that to a T, and then I'm going to put the output of the cat into a new folder, which is going to be called scratch slash my directory 2.txt. So that should send it to me, and it should send it to scratch directory txt. Okay, so it definitely sent it to me. Okay, but now let's do an ls scratch. Okay, and boom, there it is, my directory 2. Okay, so let's look up here and see what we did. We did a catalog, okay, of scratch my directory.txt, and then we sent it in a pipe to a T. That T, one branch will come to the desktop like normal, and the other branch will go to scratch slash my directory2.txt. So you see, we can pipe to one place, or we can pipe in T to two places. So I think that we could probably now also, I think that any space after this would just send it somewhere else. And so let's then say space scratch slash my directory 3.txt. Okay, and now it sent it to the screen like we wanted. Now let's do an ls. Let's do an ls scratch. ls scratch. Okay, and there it is, my directory 2, and my directory 3. So you see that with that T command, you can stack things up and send it to more than just 2 places. The T will send it to your screen, and then it will send it to whatever files that you list. Okay, and then you could probably also send it to other commands. Okay, so you see how you can start stacking these things together in a pretty powerful way. Okay, let's pwd, make sure we're in our home/home/pjm. That is good. That is good. What if you want to look inside of a file? Okay, if you want to look inside, like if you want to try to find a word in a file, you use grep. Okay, grep means look inside the files. And I'm going to start where I am, and I want to find everywhere. I want to find everywhere that there was the name Audi, A-U-D-I. Okay. And where do I want to look? I want to look in my home directory. Okay. So grep let me do it this way. Okay. We gotta let me give you a little simpler one first, okay, of grep. So let's go change directory to scratch. Okay, and then ls. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grep, and what am I looking for? Audi. Okay, I'm looking for Audi. And then where am I looking for Audi? I am looking for Audi in my cars.txt. Okay, and what it found is it found in my cars.txt, it found Audi in the line Audi 5000S. You see that? So it found it in there. Now if I did the same thing to my cars my cars uppercase AO, right, it should be in there as well, and it found it in there as well. And it might be in some of those others because we did a whole bunch of different stuff. Okay, so you can find a word Audi in my cars. Well, what if I went Audi like this with a little a? Okay, does not find it. Okay, why does it not find it? Because I did not get the case right. But if you're not worried about case, what you can do is grep minus I, meaning ignore the case, and then boom, it found it. Why? Because I ignored the case. So you can grep, you can search and tell it to not worry about case, and then it will find little a, even it will find little a UDI, even though in the file it's big A UDI. So you can ignore the case. All right, well, what if we wanted to go back up to the home directory, and what if we wanted to find words in a bunch of files? There you would do grep, and I want to search all the files. So I'm just going to say grep, and I want to do it -R, which is recursively. I think we've used recursive before. Remember, like in our RM command where you want to remove everything, it's RM and then -R. So we want to grep -R, and now we want to look for Audi. Okay, and I better do the capital AUDI. And where do I want to start looking? I want to start looking in my home directory. So the squiggly is saying start in my home directory. Oh my goodness. That just really vomited on us, didn't it? Okay. So let's see what I did here that was not good. Grep -R, and then let's see, what if I say grep -R Audi, and then I'm going to go dot, which means my existing directory, and it vomited again. Let's see, I'm looking for Audi. This is kind of peculiar, isn't it? One of the things is I'm wondering, it's like it's looking in all, it looks like that is looking at a bunch of hidden files. Okay, you know what it is? There are all of these hidden files in there that you don't see, and it is finding the word like Audi audio, as in Audi. And so this might actually be giving you a correct result, even though it is an unexpected result. Let's try this. Let's do a grep. And then what I want to find is I want to find Honda. Okay. I want to find it recursively, grep minus R Honda. And then I want to look in my home directory and everything below it. Okay, boom, look at that. You see that it found it in my cars, it found Honda Civic, and it found it in my cars AO, okay? And then also it tried to find it in this file VIMINFO, and it said permission denied. All right, so you see we're getting some sort of unusual results here, but this is actually a good learning experience. Let's look at the files in my home directory, ls. Okay, those are the ones they show you, but there's a bunch that are hidden, ls minus a, and you can see that there is a bunch of stuff that doesn't show up. Okay, and you can see that one of those is .cache, and I can say change directory .cache, and then I can do an ls, and there's a few things there, ls minus a, ls minus a, and then there's even more things there. So you see, the thing that you get into if you do a find or if you do a grep, it's going to go in and it's going to look at those files that you don't see, and then it's going to surprise you. Okay, but the way you deal with that is you just know that there are hidden files, and if you see that leading dot on a file name, it's a hidden file and one that doesn't show you. It does annoy me a little bit. So we were looking at ls, or we were looking at grep, and I wanted to find the word Audi, and I wanted to find it recursively, grep recursively Audi, and I want to start in my home directory, and then it just finds all that stuff. What you see is a bunch of this nonsense is Chromium, which is the kind of Google browser that's on this thing. And you can see that just as we were kind of browsing the web a little bit and doing a few things, that it has created this huge amount of nonsense on our system, which is kind of making me want to get Chromium off of this system and maybe find a different browser. Okay, guys, this has been a pretty good lesson, I think. Let's kind of review what we've learned so far. We've learned in the previous lesson how to create files, edit files, move files, copy files, remove files, rename files, make directories, remove directories, and use the Nano text editor to mess around with things. Today we learned how to take the output from commands and either send them to a file with the greater than, append them to a file with the greater, or send them to another command using the pipe. And then we learned some new commands. We learned the sort command. We learned the find. We learned the pipe. We learned the T, and we learned the grep. Okay, I think all those went pretty well. We found out why grep was acting a little strange. The one that we were a little queasy on was that T. The pipe seems to work really, really well. The T, we had a couple of things that were a little bit of a surprising result. But man, at this point, you're hopefully starting to feel pretty confident making your way around the Linux terminal. And I think what we're going to do next week is we're going to have a lesson where I will show you how to run the Jetson Nano headless. And what that would mean is that we want to run it as simply as possible, where we would actually be having nothing on here except power. Okay, we would not be using the keyboard, the mouse, or we would not be using the HDMI output. We would just be remotely SSHing in so that you could sit on your desktop computer, you could use your desktop keyboard, your desktop mouse, and you could remote into your Nano and just have the terminal running on your Windows machine. There's actually a lot of places that I find that, a lot of different applications where I find that very useful. And so we're going to do that. We're going to learn how to run headless in the next lesson. Then what we are going to do is we're going to kind of learn Python. And what I'm going to assume is I'm going to assume you guys already know Arduino, because a lot of you guys have come here from the Arduino. So I'm going to assume that you know the concept of, input from the keyboard, if statements, for loops, while loops, things like that. And then I'm just going to show you in Python what the syntax is to do those things that hopefully you're already familiar with in Python. Okay, guys, don't hate on me, but the title of these lessons is AI on the Jetson Nano for absolute beginners. Okay, so I showed you how to put the box together. I showed you how to build the operating system and get the Nano to boot. Then I showed you how to find your way around the system using the Linux terminal and the command line. Then today I showed you a few more commands, a little bit more about Linux. And I'm kind of taking you step by step, because the problem is I go in and I look at these tutorials, they assume that you already know all this stuff. And if you don't know it, then what happens is you just end up copying what the person is doing and you don't really understand it. So when I get in and start developing Python programs, I want you to not just be copying me, I want you to understand what I'm doing. So up to showing you the basics of Python, that's going to be kind of like a lot of basic stuff and a lot of review. But after I show you Python, then the next lesson will be to use OpenCV. And OpenCV is where we will first start getting into our artificial intelligence. And where I'm really going with this, again, the thing that I scratch my head about is I've been through a lot of those NVIDIA courses and a lot of those NVIDIA tutorials. And it's like I do their commands, I do their commands, I do their commands, and then magic happens. It's just like the Nano is doing this incredibly amazing thing. But I don't have any ability to say, oh, okay, well, what I would really like to do is I would like to take it and do this. And I don't have any ability to do that because I was just typing in commands, and I don't have that handle, that lever where I can go in and do things myself. So where I see the path is, let's get the basics of Python, and then I'll teach you OpenCV. And then in OpenCV, we will together be starting to write our own artificial intelligence programs. And specifically what I want to do is from Python with the OpenCV library loaded into Python, then I want to start interacting with the GPIO pins, because the amazing thing that I see is the opportunity is the fact that the Jetson Nano has these GPIO pins. If I can point it over here to you, and it's of course in the most inconvenient spot. Okay, it has all of these GPIO pins, which are just a lot like those digital and analog pins on your Arduino. And so the amazing opportunity for me that I see with this project and this direction that we're going is to, yes, be doing the artificial intelligence, but to be interacting with the outside world, where we're getting data from sensors through the GPIO pins into the Nano, and then we're doing artificial intelligence, and then we're making decisions and then affecting change through the GPIO pins. So sort of like artificial intelligence, more interacting with the real world. And that to me is where I think it really gets exciting, because so much of this AI stuff that I see is you're just downloading these huge data sets, and then you're running analysis on the data set. So it's like you're getting a huge amount of data, and then you're producing data, but you're sort of like in your own little data-centric world, and you're not really interacting with the external world. So that's actually why I am getting very, very excited about this. Okay, you guys, it really helps me if you give me a thumbs up on this video. If you've made it this far, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hope you'll give it a thumbs goes up, that helps me as far as the rankings go on YouTube, where we can get more subscribers, we can get more people looking at these videos. And the more people we have, the more sense of community that we can develop, and you guys can start helping each other out, and we start developing a little bit of a community of like-minded people. And that's what I would really really hope we could do. Hope you would think about subscribing to the channel. Make sure that you hit that bell for notifications, and think about sharing this with other people. Wouldn't it be great if we could introduce other people to the great fun that we're having with technology here? Okay, this is Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.